We are ready to go live. Here we go. Hello. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. If anybody out there is listening or watching us, we are here. I'm Kat from Rebloom Room, and you are?
Kathy Hampton from Wellside Retreats.
Yeah. And we're here on Saturday morning, and I was just telling Kathy that I used to be an over-prepared perfectionist, and I think parenthood changed that, and like you can't prepare for everything when you have a kid. It just doesn't work. So
No, you can't. And you can't prepare yourself for the unexpected, and you just kind of have to go with the flow.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned. And you actually have to feel like doing stuff.
You do.
and,
You do.
and sometimes at this stage in life, you're just not feeling it. You
Yeah.
just want to kind of go with the flow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today, which is actually kind of a good segue because we're talking about Mexico. And hey, Halisi. Yes, I know. I'm back. Yeah, I've been going with the flow so far this year.
Hi, Elise.
Yeah.
Partying in those Lisbon streets.
Uh-huh. Good morning, Catherine Muhammad. Good to see that you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catherine.
Yeah, I think Mexico is actually a good place to go with the flow. It's got a different, so the United States has this very we've got that work ethic drilled into us, and it's not that Mexicans don't work hard. They work really hard. Like if you see people getting up early and working for hours every day, there's a lot of work that gets done in Mexico. It's just a different vibe. There isn't I've had this vision of like life in America kind of like pulling the string really taut. It's really like there's this tension. And Mexico doesn't necessarily have that tension. Stuff gets done, but it's not like this. It doesn't have to happen now.
I've been feeling like I want to be a Mexican lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been here. No matter what, I was telling someone yesterday, it'll be 2 years that I quit that job and decided to work for myself. And who knew that, this could happen?
Yeah.
And I'm coasting. I'm really working at a pace that I enjoy. And I am still working and building up my, entrepreneurial dream, which takes time and lots of energy. And I'm doing it at a pace that I can manage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias, Agami. Yeah, I think a lot about sustainability. Like, can I maintain this level of effort? If not, maybe I just drop some things. I don't know.
I don't know. I want to maintain this level. And as I move forward with my plans of relocation, that is the hope. That is the dream of being in a place where I can breathe and breathe easily and walk about easily and not run, not be on that with that in my environment, that hustle. Yeah.
Yeah.
That grind in the environment, because I'm in that environment now.
Right.
and I can feel it. I can feel it from others.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Mexico. Maybe we can start by talking about like the first time that you or either of us went to Mexico. Like
Uh-huh.
what was your first encounter?
Yeah, my first encounter actually was when I was out, and I always forget about this. My first encounter was in was really in when I was living in California and went to Tijuana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. People in Texas are like, oh, you can just walk there.
You can just walk there. That's not Mexico. Yeah, it was. Yes, it is. They have a big old border.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister was going to UC San Diego, and I met her down there. And she says, "Let's go to Tijuana," and we did. And so that was my very first time
Mm-hmm.
in Mexico.
Yeah. I
Having
always think of border towns being like not all that lovely.
well, at the time, I went. It was in the 80s, and we had to walk through it seemed like a field, like a deserty, dusty field to get to um, where we had parked our car.
Okay.
And it wasn't pleasant. And there
Mm.
were little children, chicle, chicle,
Selling
selling
trinkets.
chiclets.
Yeah.
And so that was my first real encounter. And mind you, I come from a family where my mother lived in Corpus Christi, Texas. So I wasn't real, you know, fearful or anything. I was Corpus Christi, Texas is not Tijuana,
Oh.
but I was very familiar and living in the state of California
Mm.
with Mexican people
Yeah.
who, yeah, had many friends. But Tijuana now, from what I understand, and further onto that side of Mexico, is a lovely place to visit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's actually wine country in
Okay.
that side and great farmland.
Okay.
Not necessarily right at the border,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So
That
the
totally is.
myth, the mystique is that, there's this grungy,
Mm, mm,
harsh,
mm,
place. We
mm.
had great food. We didn't get sick from the water.
Yeah.
Then, most recently, of course, in 2021, I hopped on a plane, a well-planned 3-week trip on my birthday.
Mm.
Yes,
And where was that?
and went to Mexico City
Yes. Okay.
and planned to
Mm.
the to go to Oaxaca in between that time, and had the greatest time. My first when I got off the airplane, went through, I guess, the customs line and went into the airport to get my money to exchange and everything. It was it was a breeze. I read the signs. I knew what they were, and then asked questions. Where can I catch an Uber? Stood in this line, like on the edge of the on the sidewalk, and used my Uber app, and I was fine. I did have to put in the location where I was. I wasn't familiar with that feature actually in Uber, but there was a brother right next to me. I said, "Do I put this in here for the Uber?
Yeah.
Get there?" And I go through. I didn't get. We didn't take the freeway to my destination. We took the streets. So I saw the streets, and it was actually like a neighborhood in some states or some cities near airports where it's industrial or working class people live near airports
Hmm.
quite a, quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah. That was
I
Oaxaca.
no, that was well, in Oaxaca, yeah, that happened. But
Okay.
in Mexico City, we took the streets
Oh, okay.
um,
Yeah.
and didn't get on the freeway so much. And I stayed in Roma Norte, I believe it was. And but and I was surprised how fast they drove, but they have their own rhythm. So
Yeah.
I was like, you get in an Uber or taxi, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
God put me here.
Exactly.
That was scary. The drive
Mm,
was scary and I stayed in a street that seemed like it was an alley street,
yeah.
meaning that it was really quiet. It was
Mhm,
narrow,
mhm.
and the apartments were on that street, but there were other little side businesses, um, and I loved it. I was down the street from the Angel, and saw the Angel.
Mm.
Was in my neighborhood and just walked. There's plenty. It's a great place to walk.
Yeah.
And my
That
first meal,
angel that you mean is like that golden, it's like a
uh-huh,
big, tall statue. It's like
yes,
a big
and they
lamp.
were doing construction on it.
Mm.
When I forget the name of it. I hate I hate not knowing
Is
the
it on
names of
Reforma?
things
No?
to be able to tell people.
No.
But they were doing construction on it. They were updating it when I was there. But I still got my picture in,
Mhm.
right? My tourist picture of the angel,
Yes.
and that's
Mm.
and that was the boulevard, the Alameda, I believe, where they block off on Sundays for people
Oh,
to
yeah.
ride their bikes and
Yeah, I think that's Reforma.
Reforma, rather, yes, Reforma, yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
that was my first take of
Mm.
Mexico City.
Yes.
Oaxaca,
Your first time is in Mexico altogether.
yeah,
Yeah.
besides
Oh,
Tijuana.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, police said it doesn't count. So.
Yeah, you already forgot about it.
You did. We all forgot. Tijuana, we forgot. Oh, okay. Let me tell you about my first time in Mexico. My first time in Mexico, I might have told this story before, but my first time in Mexico was a trip. I was living in New York City at the time, and I went with my then boyfriend to Mexico City to visit a friend that we knew from London. Um, and so we flew into Mexico City, just stayed for like a day or two, and then we drove. I didn't drive, but our friend drove from Mexico City to the Yucatan.
Oh, okay.
So I saw a fair amount of, the road on Mexico in Mexico. So I think it was Tabasco, which is like
Mhm,
across and on the Gulf. And then we went to Palenque, which is one of the um, pyramid ruins
mhm,
in the middle of the jungle or on the edge of the jungle. And then over to close to Merida, but more like what is the name of the well, whatever the name of that town is on the if you're in Merida and you go straight to the Gulf, it's that city. Somebody remind me what the name of that is. I keep wanting to say Puerto, but it's something Puerto. Anyway, so it was right. They had a country house or a beach house on the Gulf, and that's where we stayed there for a week or two. No, not a week or two, but like a week or 10 days, just chilling out, eating delicious food. There was a turkey who didn't live past our visit. We had delicious turkey, mole turkey,
oh,
and
okay.
yeah, there was delicious, like just delicious fruits and fresh
Mhm,
water. They had like some kind of system where you could drink the water. It was fresh and clear.
mhm,
It was right
mhm.
on the water. So, if you wanted to swim, you could go into the Gulf or you could go in the pool. And it was just lovely. It was just a really lovely. So that was my introduction to, and then on our way out, we took the bus through Chichen Itza to Cancun and then flew out of Cancun.
Okay, well, see,
Um,
you have a broader scope.
yeah,
I would love to tour by car in
yeah. I,
Mexico.
I wouldn't do it myself because we know the repercussions of I guess that was Sheeta's channel. She interviewed someone who had an incident where they were driving and someone hit their car and it turned into a whole thing. After hearing about that, I don't think I would ever drive in Mexico. I have driven in Mexico before, but probably wouldn't do it knowing what I know now. Like I wouldn't.
Mm. Okay.
Just just too much. But yeah, it was great to have somebody else drive, somebody who
Okay.
knows Mexico and is driving.
Okay.
That was cool. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, none of my travel is when I say extensive, it's like I'm dropped in a city or a town, and I'm there to
Mm,
explore
mhm.
that town.
Yeah.
Then I get on another,
Yeah.
plane,
Yeah.
train, or whatever, and I'm in another place.
Yeah.
In Portugal, however, I was able to
Different.
go about
Yeah.
and feel like I saw more than I saw in Mexico.
Mhm.
Hence, re wanting a redo, wanting to do more, see more of Mexico.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Is are those Halisi, are those driving stories that ended in jail time? Are those both in Mexico? Are those because yeah, the whole like if you get somebody hits, it doesn't even matter whether it's your fault or somebody else's fault. It was like you have to either sit there and wait for the insurance person to arrive on the scene
Wow.
and further complications. Like, and then
Wow.
it's not like they're like they're not arresting you necessarily punitively. It's just it sounds like they just want you to sit and wait until everything gets worked out.
So you don't have to go to court or go to jail?
I don't know. This isn't my this isn't my story. I don't know. It just sounded like somebody didn't do anything wrong and yeah, you didn't do something wrong. It's just you were wrong place, wrong time, you know, and it's all, I'm sure it's all very low key, like, hey, come with us. Like,
Wow.
okay. You know, it wasn't like a big aggravating, like, no violence really. It was just like, this is the procedure. Come on to jail. You know, it was like, come
Mm,
along. Like, I
mm.
don't want that. I'm not, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah, I
You know,
wouldn't like that either.
no. Yeah. It's,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I would want to have spent a bunch of time in Mexico and understand, okay, if the insurance companies are available and can verify, yeah, if so you can get your insurance agent to get to that scene. But if
got
you're,
you.
if you're in the middle of, you know, in between cities, it could be a while.
And so people either take a bus if they want to go somewhere, someone else, or a driver. Is
Yeah, I
that
mean,
is
people
that
drive.
husband?
They just, I guess they
You get
know.
yourself a driver
Yeah. Hmm.
to take you around if you
Yeah.
want to see
Like that. Something like
see
that.
see
That
the
would be a downside.
see
For,
the streets.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, I love to drive.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that coming and going and feeling in control.
Yeah.
But you have to respect
The local.
the law
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the ordinances or what
Yeah.
have you.
All right. So what's your favorite place that you've been to in Mexico?
I'm gonna say Mexico City.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, I hesitated because I loved Oaxaca. I
mm,
didn't see much of it, as you know. I said, I was just plopped there and saw. I
mm,
was only there for like 4 days
mhm,
and got a tourist view of it.
mhm,
I really like to be amongst the people
mhm,
when I travel, and so I tried my best to be amongst the people when I walk through the streets of Oaxaca. But
mm.
I was I met up with a friend of mine there, and actually a group. Ayana Mojica was there also, and she
This is Mexico City or Oaxaca?
Oaxaca. I'm sorry,
Mhm,
I keep going back. I'm going back and forth, but I met people there at a meetup that
mhm,
scheduled and met there, and so and walked around on my own, which um, I'm I feel good about. But in Mexico City, I did more of that and got vibes from the different neighborhoods and and had places that I wanted to go that were really outside of the areas where I slept. And so I really got a good sense of the vibe in Mexico, the quietness in some neighborhoods.
Yeah. That's the
The
thing about Mexico City. It's so interesting to me that it is, I think it's the largest city in North America,
Yes.
either geographically or population. It's a huge city.
Mhm.
But it does have, just got this vibe where it's like, it's busy but it's not frenetic. It's super populated, but it doesn't feel crowded. I guess unless you're taking
Right.
if you take the metro, it feels crowded, but walking on the streets, it doesn't, I mean, unless you're in the Zocalo Centro area, that central is
Yes.
very, that gets crowded and busy and it can be a bit much.
Yes.
But other places, you can definitely find places in Mexico City where it's like, oh, this is really pleasant. There's trees,
Yeah.
hear the birds. I'm just walking.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I ended up in Centro and ended up walking up toward, walking back home,
Mm.
which which I couldn't really do. I had
Oh, it's
actually it
so
was too far.
Yeah.
But around, around the time everyone was getting off work, I realized that I finally saw the crowds, the day-to-day crowding,
Mm.
a mixture of tourists, of people getting off work from the office buildings, just people in transit, from shopping or what have you. And so I was able to see the crowds then, but during the day, you didn't see, this huge crush.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and at lunchtime, people were truly lunching, and it seemed like they were lunching for a while.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I had a great stay in Mexico. Want to see more of it. Want to see the offshoots of the city, but also want to see more of the other states
Mm.
or air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't decide what my favorite place in Mexico is. I do love Mexico City. I do.
Hmm.
I love it. I also do like Isla Mujeres. Completely different vibe.
Oh, uh-huh. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So completely different for completely different reasons. Like Isla Mujeres is just swim, breakfast, swim.
Well, you mentioned in a conversation we had you were interested in, and you're going to tell me how to pronounce this right, because I was saying a word that I wasn't pronouncing it right, and you told me,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But see, I think I don't I have grammar school and high school Spanish
Yeah.
in my head.
Yeah.
So Mereda.
Merida. Right? Merida.
So what am I saying when I say it?
Well, I think it's closer to merda or mierda, which is not a nice word in Spanish.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, and so yeah, you told me that, and I just like, oh, golly.
Yeah. Yes, I would like to go to Merida. I haven't found an easy opportunity to go. I might go in the fall, but I'm not sure. Yes. Oh, accent. Merida. Yes, Merida. Merida.
Merida,
Merida.
Merida. Thank you,
Merida.
Alicia. Yeah,
Merida. Merida.
where's the accent? Merida,
Merida. Not
Merida,
mierda. That's not- Yeah. So,
not not Merida.
mm-mm,
Okay.
mm-mm. Yeah. And what I love from what I see about Merida is the architecture. Just those houses where you look and there's like, it looks just like a wall with a door in it.
Yes.
and you think, ugh, what's behind that? And then you open it and it opens up to this, place with a high ceiling, and there's like a vista to a little pool in a courtyard, and
Yes.
there's tile floors, and it
Yes.
just looks so calm and lovely.
Yeah.
That's what appeals to me about Merida. And the heat I like. However,
Oh,
I like heat, but it's intense, right? It's like
yeah.
in May I saw it was like
That's what I've heard.
102. I think May is maybe their hottest month, and so it was like 102 in May, and I was just thinking, maybe not, maybe not. But it does appeal to me, and the food there is supposed to be amazing, and it's close enough to the Gulf that if you get tired of the hot city, you can go to the water
Mm-hmm.
pretty easily, it
Mm-hmm.
looks like. So Merida is on my list, but also Oaxaca is on my list. I haven't been to Oaxaca, and the food is supposed to be incredible there. And
Yeah,
yeah,
it was.
oh yeah,
I was treated very well when I walked into a restaurant in Oaxaca after touring the pyramids there, and I guess I looked like I was hungry and dirty and parched.
uh-huh.
And a young waiter asked me what I wanted to drink, and I wanted a cocktail, um, and he brought me water, and I said, "I don't know, bring me whatever cocktail."
That's
And
usually best
yeah, yeah,
to
he
say.
was, and he says, um, he brought the cocktail, and then he brought 2 dishes for me, and he said, the chef would like you to have these
Yeah,
dishes."
I
And
think that's really often the best in Mexico, because a lot of times the menu, especially in the smaller places, the menu is often kind of just a wish list of what they wish they could serve you.
okay, okay,
Because they're not necessarily in, like, those ingredients aren't necessarily in the market that
in the
day,
market,
or
right.
maybe there was something better that they saw, and so they want. So sometimes it's helpful to just, especially in a small place, would say, like, what's the
Mhm.
special, or what's good today, and often you'll find something really delicious that way.
And it was those 2 dishes were great, and, then I chose something from the menu, and, just so happened that, there were 2 women there, um, who were, Mexican and were speaking, and one of them was the owner of the restaurant, and it was a female chef, and she was the owner of the restaurant, and so she was the one who had given him permission to give me whatever. So
Mm,
I
that's nice.
felt really honored by that, and the
Mm,
cooking was great,
yeah.
and hospitality was great everywhere I went,
Mm,
including the host of my Airbnb
mm.
um, checked on me
Oh,
every day that I was there.
that's really
Yeah,
nice. Yeah.
he did his thing.
That restaurant that you were mentioning, it just remind me, have you been watching that there's a Black woman who opened a restaurant in Mexico City? Black
Yes,
China?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and so yeah,
Yeah.
I did. Who was it? Adelia who spoke with her?
Oh, maybe
Actually,
it was Italia. Yeah.
yeah,
Must have
Adelia
been.
spoke with her,
Mm,
and yeah.
yeah.
So I'm planning to get back to
Yeah.
go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there are times I my I broke my stay in Mexico City up into two, I guess, two parts, and it was I went there for a few days in Mexico City. I went to Oaxaca for a few days, came back to Mexico City and stayed in a different place in a guest house. And the guest house was really phenomenal, kind of
Mhm.
a boutique.
Mhm.
There are a lot of boutique
Yeah.
guest houses there, but I was able to find one that was really good. And they actually have a sister guest house in the state of Oaxaca near the water,
Mhm.
and that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
It's a surf town, and
Mhm.
I'm trying to look that up right now
Yeah. Puerto
because
Escondido? Escondido? No.
mm-mm,
No.
no, I'm gonna find it. It's
Yeah.
it's a really great place that is kind of hidden.
Mhm.
This guest house is,
Okay.
but it's designed really interestingly right on the edge of, it's kind of like the jungle, but
Mhm.
then there's the water.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's very lush, and
Yeah.
they have there's lots of it's a surf town.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd like to get to.
So how do you figure out, or if somebody's never been to Mexico, how would they figure out where they might want to go? Like how do you find these restaurants, and how do you find these, how do you figure this stuff out?
Well, so I tell people I'm a rookie traveler. I'm not seasoned. I'm nosy. And so I did pick up a few books, but what I know for me is when I listened to, I got a great tip from Rashida to spend my time at, I can't even think of the, see, here I go with the names again, at a restaurant that had a tasting menu. You can
Mhm.
buy the whole
Mhm.
experience.
Mhm.
And I did
Was it
that for
one of
my
those
birthday dinner.
was it one of those fancy schmancy ones?
Yes,
The Michelin starred ones?
yeah.
Mm. Mm.
And I did that for my birthday.
Mm.
So with that, and talking with the people at that fancy, and the name of it, it was,
It's Pujol. Was it in Mexico City, right?
no, it's not Pujols.
Quintonil?
Yes.
Quintonil? Yeah.
Say Antonil. Yes.
Quintonil with a Q, right?
Into,
Quintonil?
yes.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Quintonil?
Okay.
Quintonil. Quintonil.
All right, that one.
Okay, yeah.
And
Yes.
yeah, I'm not a perfectionist.
No, that's true. That's true. Yes.
I
And
am not.
Mexico City. So Mexico City, I did a short about this. Mexico City has like the most Michelin, no, what is it? The most Michelin stars? Oh, I know. That it has 5, I think, of I think it was Condé Nast. Um, did like 10 best restaurants in the world, and 5 of them were in Mexico City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I went to that restaurant and had and sat and didn't sit in a booth or a table. I sat at the tasting bar at the bar, so to
I
speak.
love sitting at the bar in a
And the
restaurant. Yeah.
kitchen was right behind.
Yeah.
And that was my birthday present, I'm gonna say, from Rashida, just giving me
Mhm.
that name.
Mhm.
And she's a regular there. They know her by name.
Oh, just
Yeah.
like when I
Yeah.
was in Mexico City and I got to meet with Rashida and we went to Joe Gelato, and she's a regular there too. They know her.
Yes. So I spent my birthday there
Mhm.
and sat next to a gentleman who was a traveling nurse.
Mhm.
And we
Interesting.
had the best conversation.
Mhm.
And he actually did the whole tasting thing.
Mm.
And they made a special birthday drink of this really serious mezcal that
Yes.
I could not drink all of it.
Right. Yeah.
It was
It's like a
great.
birthday hangover.
Well, yeah, and I had just arrived, so I was trying to pace myself.
Yeah, that's another thing. So there's that altitude in Mexico City. It
Yes,
doesn't look, because it doesn't look like it's, because there's a mountain in the distance that you can see when the air is clear, but you don't get this mountain town feel. It's not like
no,
when you go to Denver, you're like, okay, I know there's mountains. But
right,
in Mexico does have an elevation. So some people who are sensitive to, elevation differences do sometimes have like a little bit of adjustment physically to get
yes.
used to the elevation.
And I definitely did and did not realize that until I was taken on a food tour and documented that with Roxanne Munson, the
Mm,
photographer. And she whispered to me, she said, take your time
mhm,
because you're at a higher elevation.
mm,
Drink lots of water.
mhm,
She was the first one who told me.
mhm.
And she said, pace yourself.
Right.
And I was like, wow. That's why I'm feeling like I'm feeling. I felt full when you have altitude sickness. A friend of mine lives in Colorado Springs. I felt full and kind of bloated.
Mm,
I started
mhm.
feeling that, and I thought that was the food, but I had felt that a few days, prior than the food tour. So
Right.
yeah, you do have to take your time.
Mm.
You have to drink lots of water.
Yeah.
I was wondering why my feet were a little puffy.
Mm-hmm.
It was because it was all the walking, I thought. No,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
you're retaining
Mm.
lots of water also.
Yeah.
And you have to pace yourself. Mhm.
Yes. And there is that also that sort of slack line where you're like not this North America or like we're in North America,
Yes.
but like not the US
Yes.
tightness and everything has to be done now and you're like,
That's right. That's right.
it has to be done yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait,
Yeah.
actually, I physically need to slow down.
Yes.
You can't go at this like tight,
Yes.
everything has to
Mhm.
happen now. You do actually physically have to give yourself more time to do things, slow things down.
Yes.
Um, yeah. So
Yeah. So, yeah, and and you know, before reading, rest is resistance, and understanding, the priority of resting, not just for, a social or cultural mandate. Um, yeah, just resting in general is required, and especially when you're traveling and you want to do all the things, but you are traveling, you're on a journey, and you really do need to take your time so that you can enjoy it. You can be your best and enjoy it. Yeah.
yes. I'm trying to put her name. How do you spell Trisha Hersey? Is it Tri Trisha?
Yes. Tricia, Trisha
Uh-huh.
Hersey.
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 Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
there
so,
we
yeah.
go. That's it.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, do all that resting.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
actually saw her a couple weeks ago when she came to DC.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was lovely. I have
Yeah.
her book and it's nice.
Yeah. So you can rest, as part of the mandate, which
Mhm.
I encourage. And that's what I've been doing lately. Hey, glass half full.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So,
rest.
yeah.
Yeah. And it
Rest.
affects you like your surroundings, at least me, I'm very affected by my surroundings. Um, and so when I'm in a place where it's normal to relax or to normal to go at a slower pace, my I naturally do the same thing. But it does take some time to sort of get out of the pace that you're in.
Hmm.
When you like when you land, you're coming. If you've ever landed in New York, and that once you get out of that plane, you are going to have to walk twice as fast as you've been walking, talk
That's right.
twice as fast because they will
That's right.
not.
That's right.
Like
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
have to kind of like get yourself ready. You have to like make sure you don't have stuff, your money's got to be tight, you got to have all the things. Um, and it's different every time you get off a plane and you land somewhere. Like
Yes.
if you've ever landed in like the Caribbean, like Jamaica,
Tell me about it.
right? You're like, I just remember the first time I went to Jamaica and I was with my mom. And she's like, I was like, okay, let's go get it. She's like, where are you going? I'm like, where are you going? I'm like, well, I got I'm like hustling to get a taxi. She's like, where are you going? Like, and everybody, I looked around, I was like, oh, I'm the fastest walker in town. Like, I gotta slow down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. To
Yeah.
just look around and realize, oh,
Yes.
it's just
Philosophically, I think that's kind of like what we just need to do in life.
yeah.
Just slow down a little bit.
I think yes. And I think also, so going to Mexico and getting older, these things just they require, it is a mandate. It is, like you said, a
Yeah.
mandate to like
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
slow down.
Slow down. Slow down.
No
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you could keep going, but you're
Yeah.
gonna get hurt, or you're just gonna feel like, why am I rushing? Yeah.
And that's, yeah, and that is I think key. I'll be going to San Miguel de Allende
Oh,
um in August,
oh,
and
yeah, talk about that, talk about that.
yeah, we'll be retreating. A small group of women will be retreating at Casa Elm in San Miguel de Allende, and I'm looking forward to, just the house itself looks
Mm.
um, real low key
Mhm.
and inviting
Mm,
enough to rest. And we know that there's around us will be, all of this stuff to see and do.
mm,
But I, the last retreat that I had was at the mansion at Noble Lane, which was a huge, old mansion,
and
and the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania.
mm,
Um, a small group of women, and the environment called for rest.
mhm,
Now, people really wanted to go and see and do, but it was really a restful place.
yeah,
And I hope that people will be doing and seeing the things,
mhm,
um, and but the place that will rest our heads will be
yeah,
inviting to take that rest,
yeah.
as well as, we'll be doing the excursions, we'll be doing all the things,
Yeah.
and visiting. So
Are
we're
there
going to
still
pace
spots?
ourselves.
Are there still spots?
Thank you for asking. Yes, there are. There are. I'm going to say there are 3 spaces
Okay.
waiting to get a confirmation, and then there will be 2 more spaces left after that,
Mhm.
coming up.
Okay,
And yeah, you can. Do you have my website is
okay.
wellsideretreats.care. If anyone is interested or knows someone who's interested in traveling in a solo capacity, but would like to meet up with a group of like-minded women who need a rest, need to see a different point of view, um, may need to do some healing. Um,
And you do a lot of journaling, right? That's
yes,
yeah.
be journaling, meditation. There is kind of like Casa Elm's own wellness practitioner, Nina Simone is her
Wait,
name.
her name was Nina Simone?
Nina Simone,
Nice.
and she'll be helping us with um, sound bathing, sound bowl,
Mm,
meditation, as well as yoga, body movement, and we will be participating in a Tay Mezcal,
oh,
which is traditional Mexican sweat lodge
mhm.
with massage.
Nice.
Yes. And there will be opportunity to go to the thermal pools or hot springs
Mhm.
there in San Miguel de Allende. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, as Michelle Wedderburn places it, the soft landing
Mm,
for people.
yeah.
We'll have to travel to San Miguel from the airport, so
Mhm.
there will be that travel
Yeah.
getting, and that will be that's part of the package,
Yeah.
ground transportation. No
Mhm.
one will have to rent a car and drive themselves and be in an accident.
Not a soft landing. Yeah. Mm.
So it will be a soft landing. You will be whisked away
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
to the house, and I'm excited about it, and believe that it will be a great time. We have um, you know that planned, and I'm 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 hoping that we can find a cacao ceremony,
Mm,
because the theme of the retreat is cultural wellness and healing.
mhm.
So all of these things, all of these services and practices are things that are native or indigenous to the area. So
Right.
yeah,
Right. Maybe.
Besides Nina Simone, who
Right.
is a who is an expat doing her thing in
Mm,
San Miguel de Allende. Yeah,
nice. 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 That's
yeah.
fantastic. I'm
Mhm.
excited for you. That'll be really,
Thank
really
you.
exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we should talk about our plans too,
yeah.
because we've got plans for a retreat.
That's right.
Our plans for the retreat are October in Mexico City. So we have a few months still, but we do have a wait list. So if anybody who wants to join the wait list, I have a link to our wait list in the description. But yeah, I really love retreats. I've been on a few. Mostly writers retreats,
Mhm.
and they're just so well, obviously they're relaxing, but also it's just a nice sort of way to just get some space in your life, to just like where you're not doing the same thing,
Mhm.
and yeah, you can really get some time to think about, if maybe you're in a moment when you know that there's a lot of things that are about to change or you want to change. A retreat can kind of give you space to think about those things
Right.
in a time when you're not in those things, you're not in your same environment, and sort of give yourself a moment to just breathe and think, or maybe not even like think really hard, but just get out of your mind space
Yes.
and your physical space and just be somewhere else. Give yourself that sort of parenthesis of time.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's what I love a retreat for.
Mhm. Yeah, and retreating is yeah, I I just wrote this before coming on here, ideas I had for my YouTube channel, but retreats are another tool to wellness. It's like you I tell people, instead of doing the same thing on your daily walk in life, try something different. Walk out of your home when you take your walk. Instead of going right, take a left for a change. Go somewhere different.
Mhm.
See something different. It
Mhm.
enhances, may enhance your day. It could enhance your day. It gives you a different perspective. It's a um, it's a way to grow yourself, coming from a different direction, to experience something new, to learn something new,
Mhm.
even about yourself.
Mhm.
So that's the time that you may need to make a change in your life.
Mhm.
I know that my first, I tell everybody, this first girlfriend weekend that I took as an adult, besides Girl Scouts and some school trip, um, as an adult, who was, doing all the things, children, family, a dog, a job, um, living, uh, uh, actually taking a seat on my as commissioner, first Black commissioner of my township in
Oh, wow.
suburbs of Philadelphia,
Mm.
with all this stuff working. I took a time, 4 days off, to do something different in another part of the country. Came back and I was changed. I was
Mm.
changed. I realized that I was not living well,
Mm.
just taking a
Yeah.
turn to do something different.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to retreat,
Mhm.
retreat from harm. Retreating is moving away from harm,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
And you might not even recognize the harm that you're in while you're
that's
in
right.
it. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I didn't know how bad my body felt,
Mm.
because I was storing pain.
Mm.
And a lot of women who have multiple hats they wear, multiple roles they're in. They're caregivers. They are, especially if you're in the sandwich generation,
Mhm.
children, other family members. I was an auntie mommy to a niece who lived with me. Just
Mhm.
all kinds of things
Yeah.
that you think you take on and you just do.
Yeah.
And so I believe that women of our age, our certain age, need to need to make a change for themselves.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, like, while you were away, the people in your life also noticed, certain things ain't getting done.
That's right.
Maybe
That's
I
right.
need to do that thing.
That's right.
Like your environment also changes because you've been absent, and people are like, they notice, they must notice what's not getting done. Oh,
Yeah.
suddenly, I didn't realize that olive oil doesn't just magically appear in the pantry. Somebody actually goes to get it.
That's right.
Never occurred to me. Oh, the gas doesn't just magically fill itself in the car. Wait a minute. How did that happen?
How
Like,
does that?
probably notice,
Yeah.
oh, she's doing all these things.
All these things.
Yeah.
All of these things. Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully when you get back, they might have a little bit more appreciation and perhaps pitch in a little bit more.
Well,
Hope.
that is the hope.
Yeah.
There's the dance classes, the soccer, or
Mhm.
if they're
All of
doing
that.
soccer, there's
Mhm.
lacrosse, there, all the
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
there's the dog who goes on long walks with me, who may have gotten a shortchanged, in his walk, and he's like, "What the heck is going on here?
Right. Right.
When
Yeah.
is she coming back?" And so
Yes.
he meets
Yes.
you at the door, and his
Yes.
tail is just wagging because you are back. That's a true
Yes.
sign, right? That you are
And
missed.
the world did not fall apart without you.
That's right.
That too.
That's true. Yeah.
I think a lot of people also think, well, if I didn't do it, if I
Yeah.
didn't do this, and that, then the world will fall apart if I don't hold it up.
No.
And actually,
No.
you don't have to hold up the world. You don't
No.
hold it up.
Berkeley got his walk on.
Mhm.
It was just shorter.
He'll be okay. And I guess that's where we started, which was the perfectionism of everything has to be
Yes. Yeah.
done in a certain
Yeah.
way at a certain time, and
Mhm.
it doesn't necessarily.
No. Yeah. Perfectionism stops you from doing lots of things. It really does,
Yeah.
and including resting.
What do you mean?
Yeah, because perfection is to my knowledge, and maybe I have been in some circumstances wanting to be perfect, is that, or to strive really hard not to miss them,
Yeah.
catching them all.
Yeah.
But when you're a perfectionist, you don't perform because you don't believe that it will be good enough. So
Mhm.
it stops you from doing the thing that
Yeah.
you're talented about because you think that it is not.
Yeah.
You are your worst critic.
Yeah.
And so nothing gets done.
Yes.
But you're not resting because you're thinking
Yes.
about this.
Oh, yes.
Your mind is going. It's a continuum
Yeah.
of thought. See,
Mhm.
we can do all this physical stuff
Mhm.
and do the things, but when your mind is on the hamster wheel all
Yeah.
by itself,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
That's
know,
it.
that's when mm, you know other things stop, like resting,
Mhm.
playing. You
Mhm.
can't play because you can't do. If I do that, if I have too much fun,
Mm.
what
Right.
will people think, or
Right.
what I won't satisfy myself, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
if I don't do it just right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I gave up that game.
Mm.
Um and I think yeah, I think I gave it up around 45, 50,
Mhm.
and realized, a difference
Yeah.
um in pleasing myself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not being perfect. You
Yeah.
can't be. You just cannot be.
Really?
You cannot, child.
Really?
Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself, child.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
your mother said, slow down.
Slow down. Where are you going?
Where are you going?
Where are you going?
What you doing?
Right. Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
yeah.
All right. Well, we're winding it down.
Did
So
you put the link for the wait list?
yes, the wait list for our October retreat in Mexico City is in the description.
Okay.
So folks
Oh,
listening
okay.
and watching can go down there and add your name to the wait list so you'll know when we open up registration.
That's
It's a small retreat. It's going to be, I think, well, it'll be less than a dozen women.
Mm-hmm.
Small, and
Yeah.
very nice, cozy, family style. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're pulling it together, and we're going to announce it when registration is ready. So we're getting excited for it. And in the
Getting
meantime,
excited.
Kathy has her retreat in August, right? August.
August 13th through the 20th at Casa Elm in San Miguel de Allende, and it's going to be another small intimate group, and yeah, we could be hanging out at the guest house.
Yes, and because San Miguel is in the mountains, right? You don't get that hot Merida heat.
Right.
So it's a nice
Correct.
place to be in the summer because it's a little
Yeah.
cooler than.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the heat, like that you're not gonna get that Merida heat in August in
Merida.
San Miguel.
Merida.
It'll be warm, right? But it won't be sizzling. You won't be sitting in
Yeah.
the cooler.
Yeah, and it's the middle part of the month of August. So
Yeah.
I hope that it'll be tolerable for us all.
It'll be lovely.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All
thank
right.
you everyone for watching. Thank you, Kathy, for sharing
Sure.
this hour. And love you all. Thank you for
Welcome.
watching. Please subscribe and like this video, and we will see you next time.
All right.
Bye, lovelies.
Bye.